Welcome back. All right. It is now, for me anyways, it's January 26th. At the time this goes live, it will be January 31st. So, starting from where I left off yesterday, number 17 is the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers have had some ups and downs. Now, when the channel first started doing all the power rankings, 2017, 2018, they had a pretty meteoric rise in there. Then we go into the retool, right? The very quick retool. And so in the existence of this channel, they've gone from contending team to retooling to back to contention. But where they are right now, they've dropped off a little bit. And the next power rankings, which are tomorrow, January 27th, they're very likely to drop again unless something dramatic happens. Ninth on the January 20th power rankings, reflected right here. And they've been number one. They've been number one 5 times this season. So the overall picture is one of this year is their best year on the power rankings, an average of 3.73. 2021, 2022, the average was 7.92. And last year, the average was 9.73. So what drags them down is the 4 years previous, where the averages were 20.27, 23.16, 19.65, and 19.06. So not great rankings before that, but the last 3 years pretty good. So their points percentage in the NHL from 2017-18 until now, 571, that's 17th. So again, there's synergy between the power rankings and where they are in the standings over these years, which I think is good. Like, people always debate the power rankings and oh, these are terrible, this is awful, this is inaccurate. I'm glad that these numbers match up. I was kind of concerned when I did it this way that, oh, what's going to happen if something really doesn't match up? But it looks like it does. So again, they were ninth this past week on the power rankings. They've been in the top row 43 times. Second row 43 times as well. Third row 46 times. They've only been in the bottom row 25 times. So the Rangers have generally been pretty good throughout the run. Their run on this channel, especially the last couple of years. Their top scorer from 2017-18 until now is Mika Zibanejad. Now, in points per game, you'd be looking at Panarin. But overall, 476 games for Zibanejad, 205 goals, 257 assists, 462 points. Overall, really, really solid numbers for Mika. Their top goaltender in terms of wins, Igor Shesterkin. I was actually kind of surprised it wasn't going to be Lundqvist, but Lundqvist's career was winding down at the time that I started doing power rankings. Shesterkin, a record of 118, 53, and 16 with a save percentage of 920. He's been up and down this year, and I'm kind of surprised by that. I'd expected a big bounce back after last year was a down year for him. Some nights he looks like the Igor of 2 years ago, and some nights he doesn't. If the Rangers are going to win a Stanley Cup, he needs to be that Igor from 2 years ago, and they need to get that production throughout their lineup as well that they had earlier in the year and when they were number one on the power rankings 5 weeks this season. 5. So really, really good, strong run for the Rangers overall to start the year. The question then being, did they peak too soon? And that's a question that I don't think we know the answer to yet. But could we find out? Yep, we absolutely could. We'll probably find out, I would think, in April, whether or not they peaked too soon. So their last playoff appearance, of course, was in 2023. And now it feels like that's not enough. Just making it to the playoffs is not enough. Fans are going to want to see some kind of progression in the playoffs, especially after they got upset last year in the first round of the playoffs. So, in terms of figuring out what this team needs, I don't think they need a lot. I think the Rangers are in good shape. I think they need some depth, and I mean depth on the blue line, depth up front, and there's going to be a lot of that. I'm going to be saying a lot of that because that's what a lot of teams are going to be looking for at the deadline, but also that consistency. And I think part of what's been missing from their game, which is understandable considering where they've been, which is first in the Metro the whole season, urgency. I think what sometimes happens is teams that are at the top, they don't have that same sense of urgency, that almost playing with a feeling of panic that teams that are on that playoff line or below the playoff line may have. So that effort may not be there for the Rangers the way it is for their opponents. And the problem then becomes, you then wait for them to turn it back on. And sometimes teams don't. So the Rangers are going to have to figure this out and turn this back on after the All-Star break. Maybe they do. If they don't, it's going to leave the Rangers' brain trust in a tough position here. What do you do? How do you make this work? And so we'll see what the New York Rangers do after the deadline, because I don't think they need a lot. I don't think major surgery is required, but they need to find the necessary pieces. Waiving Nick Bonino is one thing. It's this small little piece there, and I mean, if somebody else picked him up, that leaves you some cap space. But the Rangers are going to be in the mix for, in terms of Stanley Cup favorites. I think they'll be a dark horse, but they're going to be in the mix for first in the division. Absolutely. I think Carolina's very dangerous right now. And I mean, New Jersey's been down. Maybe New Jersey has a good run after the All Star break as well. And a lot of it's going to rely on teams staying relatively injury free, which the Rangers mostly have. And I'm saying mostly because nobody's completely injury free, but the Rangers haven't had some of the more serious injury problems that some of the other teams in the league have had. So they're going to need that luck as well. But I'd be interested to know from Rangers fans watching this video. This team right now, as I said, they're 17th, but they're trending in the right direction. So they're definitely going to be moving up if I do this again a year from now, and I may very well. We'll see how this playlist does. But what do you think? Do you think they're going to be a Stanley Cup contender? Do you think that the New York Rangers peaked too early? How do you feel about the team right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event that you have not already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.